Hello YouTube, it's Lisa Stade here of the YouTube channels of Lisa Stade and Hitler Obsessed. I'm gonna do, starting with you, part 4 of the series of videos on the review of the plot of the movie Downfall and the actual history behind the movie. Of Downfall from 2004 that's called Der Untergang that Bruno Granz uh, is it Bruno or Bruno Gans? Gans, I mean, not Grans. Gans. Uh, Played the leading role of Adolf Hitler in. Uh, so where I left off, I guess I'll start from the beginning of my notes. So, so outside from the meeting room where Hitler was having his meeting of just moving around imaginary armies, Hitler really doesn't care or just doesn't know or raised in La La Land so much in his life now at 56 and lives in the war of doesn't care if the armies exist but really doesn't give a darn to care. Hey, by the way, the war's lost. I mean, he does at one point tell his generals, yes, the war is lost, I might as well just shoot myself and wait for the end, and then I'll just blow my brains out. uh and he eventually decides to just leave. Everyone in the Third Reich did let Hitler control everything. They let him control the military and gave him so much praise about his military genius as a general and a commander in chief that Hitler did believe this. I mean, he actually did probably believe this stuff before. Everybody was heaping this kind of stuff on him. But yet again, once he left, everyone was upset. We don't know what to do because we don't have the great almighty leading Fuhrer leading the war to total victory or the final victory or, just winning this never ending war that Goebbels had declared in his speech of total war. Uh, so, uh, so eventually, they're just like, we can't make any decisions without this guy. I mean, what are we to do? So they end up pretty much letting Hitler come back because they've lost so much of their ability to run their own darn world they started that they want Hitler back. They got dependent on the idiot. Uh, so in one of the next scenes is that Hitler goes above ground with several of his attendants and was it Max Axman or whatever it is. What's his name? Anton Axman, I guess the leader of the Hitler Youth there. To give a bunch of Hitler Youth that stopped the Allied or Russian tank there a bunch of Iron Crosses. A lot of Hitler's generals thought that this was a total waste. You're giving kids something of value. These were like the first class ones, and Hitler goes to in the scene meet the character of Peter Krantz, who he hands pins, I guess, on his little Hitler Youth or Volksturm uniform, an Iron Cross First Class. And a lot of his generals thought, we had to fight and work hard for these things, and you're just giving it off to a kid. This is insulting. Uh, but yeah, Hitler was all like, just lovey-dovey, pinching the cheek of, Peter Krantz there. Uh, which he's pretty common famous for just doing around kids, just lovey dovey, nice friendly Uncle Adolf. Not a nice guy really. And he considers Peter Krantz like the son he never had. Which is a good thing, because, Hitler shouldn't have had kids or sons he never had, or daughters he never had. For obvious reasons why. Who wants the Third Reich to end up like, North Korea? Not me and not anyone else. Uh, but Hitler does go underground after he hands these first class Iron Crosses to the group of Hitler Youth kids. Peter Kranz actually, one of the kids does pass out from just too much fatigue, and they just carry him off somewhere to sleep, somewhere in the bunker. But while Hitler was actually making his way down, there was actually a scene where Hitler just stops and just leans his head against the wall. The actual history behind that, from what I remember from my book I read, I think it was The Last Days of Hitler is one of those one Hitler books. I think one of them about Hitler's last days in the Fuhrerbunker. He does stop when he's walking down from that gathering of Hitler Youth kids back into the Fuhrerbunker underground. He does stop, rests his head against the wall, and actually does fall asleep standing up, holding a nice, lovely traffic jam for everyone else to deal with. I mean, he had a rule that you couldn't wake him up at all, so if he fell asleep in the middle of the walkway, you were waiting it out. Because there was a real rule about waking up Adolf Hitler. That's pretty much the whole thing that started and gave the Allied powers the advantage in Normandy, because Hitler slept in and you didn't wake him up for anything, including, the invasion of D-Day, which benefited for the Allies. Uh, so I guess the old saying, the only bird catches the worm, is pretty accurate in this situation. Uh, I mean, yeah, there was a lot of fear of people like just not wanting to abandon Hitler in the bunker. Truadl Junge in the movie does mention that. Several of Hitler's generals mentioned they just can't abandon Hitler. Even the women couldn't. A lot of women just followed the guy and were just love struck by him, including his secretaries. I bet probably had the hearts for him. And guess in this case, in this generation, Truadl Junge would have had a husband killed on the front at this time. So, in other words, she's single and available. But Hitler already had Eva Braun, who decided to, decided to go down to the Fuhrerbunker and stay with Hitler and die with him. And Hitler does show appreciation for this, but he just never showed appreciation to her before this, and he was willing to give her what she wanted. That she was willing to kill herself, I think, 2 or 3 times. Uh, not married him until he was ready to die, and then she's happy because she finally got what she wanted. It's not gonna be a long happy marriage, I guess. Uh, but yeah. Uh, Albert Spiel does turn up again, and he talks to force Truadl Junge, and he's telling her, you gotta get Hitler out, and she's like, no, 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 we won't abandon him, we won't leave without him. If he's not going, we're staying. He tries doing that with Magna Goebbels, and she's like, I can't deal with this, heartbroken. She's going through what cardiologists say could kill you. She's bedridden, heartbroken, because she knows that if Hitler dies, her husband's going to kill himself, and she's got to kill the kids. Uh, Even though I think in real life Magna Goebbels didn't give two shits or two fucks about her kids and Hitler. I think she gave more care to Hitler than to her own kids' lives and her own ideology, because she was a fervent National Socialist, a Nazi. But then, so Albert Spiel does tell Magna, you gotta get the kids out, you gotta give them some better future than dying. This isn't the best option. She's like, no, no, without Hitler, there's no National Socialism. And if there's no National Socialism, she's pretty much going through Reese's argument, explaining why her kids must die because Hitler died. Worst logic, and I swear, if any of you guys are ever judges, I feel pity for you if you deal with a world war putting this kind of argument out. Because that was just mental backflips, mental gymnastics right there. Olympic gold medal mental gymnastics, I want to say. Um, But Albert Spiel does turn up to visit Ava Braun and tell her the same thing, you gotta get out, you gotta get Hitler out. And she's like, no, I wanna die with him. He wants to die, so I'm gonna die with him. And then Albert Spiel meets with Hitler. And there are all several scenes of this here, of Hitler just sitting there staring at a picture of Frederick the Great. Truadl Junge does stumble into one of these instances that Hitler did do this a lot, and during the end of the war. But still, this picture of Frederick the Great there, who was an old German, Prussian emperor, I guess, there, and he would sit and stare at this, trying to get insight from this thing, or I don't know, ideas or whatever, motivation from this great German leader that he looked up to, and thought himself to be compelled or better than. Oh. So even Albert Spiel ends up telling Hitler, you gotta leave. And, he's like, no, 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 I won't. I'm gonna die here. I mean, it's okay if you wanna go, great. Or if you wanna stay with me, that's definitely great. Albert Spiel is not willing to die with Hitler. Uh, but, Albert Spiel didn't also want to support Hitler's no decree. And Hitler did not like that because, he never once disobeyed Hitler before, but now Hitler knows he disobeyed him and will not bother to shake his hand or say goodbye. And Albert Spiel just, walks off into the sunset, seeing what Hitler has done to the Third Reich by just pretty much obliterating and leveling it to the ground, killing almost everyone in innocent civilians. Now we'll end with part 4 and continue with part 5, so make sure to become a subscriber and subscribe to my YouTube channels of Lisa State and Hitler Obsessed. You can definitely hit the notification bell to be notified about all future videos on Lisa State and Hitler Obsessed. Like this video and all my other videos on Lisa State and Hitler Obsessed. Leave a comment on any of my videos or in this video on Lisa State and Hitler Obsessed. You can donate to my Patreon and my subscribe star that are connected to this channel of Lisa State and I think also Hitler Obsessed. You can also send me a friend request on Facebook and leave me a comment, or just leave me a comment on my Facebook page of Lisa State. And you can visit my BitChute channel on BitChute.com that's called Lisa Marie Stayed. I suggest you hang around that channel than all the other channels because, all the other ones have some weird stuff with Hitler that I don't want you to get involved with. So, now on to part 5 here. Bye!